I got married very early. I was just 21. In fact, my 21st birthday happened after my marriage. So technically, I married at 20. I would give all the credit really to my father in law. He was the one who told me that I should pursue further studies. He pushed me to do an MBA. And then so I said, okay, let me start looking. Fortunately, the first job or the role that I got was with Tata's. And when I went and told him that I've got this offer with Tata Pharma, that's when his second advice came to me, saying that you're in a very, very good group, you're at the right place, and never leave the job. I was very fortunate to have very, very good leaders. I did get different roles at different times in my career. Money happened along with it. Instant gratification is good. It gives you some bit of pleasure, but it does not lead to sustained happiness. What I would say to the younger generation is to really look for sustained happiness, work on your passion and purpose. Even if you're going through a painful journey, there'll be ups and downs when you do a project as well. If you're passionate about that role, you will keep going. In spite of the pitfalls, you will keep finding ways to come back to it. And that's what you should look for. It's not about grabbing that opportunity, or it's about not missing a chance for success. Whether it's a man, whether it's a woman, you're not always ready for the next role, for the next opportunity, because you don't know what it's going to throw at you. You have to put up your hand and ask. And don't wait to be 100% ready. Happiness is a journey. It's not a capsule. It's not a one-time event. So for your long-term happiness, it's a journey that you need to invest in. Different strokes for different folks, One advice will not fit all. So I think what you need to do is, first of all, make that choice. Happiness is a choice that I'm making today. I want to be happy, and I'm going to figure out how to do that and invest in yourself.
Welcome to Office Tales and People podcast. This episode is something that I wanted to shoot right in the beginning, but I couldn't. And I have a very special guest today. My guest is also my co-host, Priyanka Gidwani. Today, she's a women leadership and happiness coach. But till yesterday, meaning till January, she was serving the corporate world for 32 long years. And I have personally worked with her on so many projects that I got to see really in person and live what kind of a person she is, what kind of a leader she is, hence our friendship. And today, I am so excited to have you, Priyanka, as my guest on our Office Tales and People podcast. Are you ready to be roasted?
Absolutely.
Yeah? Okay, I'm going to roast you a lot today.
I know you've been waiting for this roasting.
Yes.
And today is your opportunity. Just go for it.
Yes. So my first question is that you started really young and very early on. And, you started and very early on, you got the opportunity to be with Tatas. What really made you take up the job, be serious about it, and also have a 25-year-long career with the Tatas?
Shikha, I've had 25 years with the group, but I would give all the credit really to my father-in-law. Like you said, I got married very early. I was just 21. In fact, my 21st birthday happened after my marriage. So on 3rd of July is when we got married, and 14th August was my 21st birthday. So technically, I married at 20. But it was my father-in-law who really pushed me towards all of this. I was just a graduate at that time, and he was the one who told me that I should pursue further studies, right? He pushed me to do an MBA. Before that, when I was sitting at home, my husband was in a sales and marketing job. So, sales guys usually work till late night trying to close as many sales as they can. So I used to be, just married, waiting for him, ki when he comes, we'll have dinner together, etc. And that's when he pushed me first, saying, what are you doing waiting for him? Why don't you take up something as well and take up a job and do something with your life? And then so I said, okay, let me start looking. And fortunately, the first job or the role that I got was with Tata's. It was with a company called Tata Pharma, which doesn't exist right now. Of course, it's gotten taken over by Merind at that time. And that's when I got my first role in the Tata Group. And when I went and told him that I've got this offer with Tata Pharma, that's when his second advice came to me, saying that you're in a very, very good group, you're at the right place, and never leave the job. So that's what really kept me going in the Tatas. That advice always stayed with me, that I'm in a good group and I will get opportunities as and when life happens. And it did. And therefore, my continuity with the group for 25 years. I still feel that maybe I'm a little short on years, because when you meet people in Tatas, they're all 40 years in the system, 30 years, 40 years. So I'm a little short on that, but I'm quite proud of whatever I did for the 25 years with the group.
So, Priyanka, today's age and era, I haven't met, many youngsters who would want to stick to a company for 25 long years. Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, it's different strokes for different folks. I'm sure different things work for people, but continuity and loyalty did definitely work for me. I was very fortunate to have very, very good leaders whom I was reporting to. And I think why do people leave is what we need to understand, right? When you're leaving, it's because you want a more exciting role, or you want more money, or you don't like your boss. So, fortunately for me, none of that was a criteria. I did get different roles at different times in my career. Money happened along with it. It may have not happened initially, but as and when it had to happen, it happened later on in my career. So, roles were taken care of, money was at some point taken care of. The third one I said was, if you don't like your boss.
Yeah.
I've had very good bosses whom I've learned from. They've always encouraged me, given me challenges which I had to deliver on, and that's what kept me excited.
So, I don't know how many people will have this criteria, because we are living in the age of instant gratification, Priyanka. So I think it's not really these parameters only. We're also in a very different era altogether, where the formulas have changed. If today's generation is looking for instant gratification, what are the pros and cons, according to you, for people to look for that, dopamine that they are looking for every single day?
Wow, you spoke about dopamine. So, what I want to say here is, while they look for instant gratification, there's something that we speak about in happiness, which is called hedonic happiness. So, what they're looking for is hedonic happiness. What happens in that is, there is a set point theory that you're at a level of happiness at any point in time, right? So, when these gratifications happen, it goes on a high, and you're completely on a high, you're very happy. But what happens on the next day is, it comes back to the set point. It doesn't last very long, right? So you've changed your job, you're very excited for a few days, and you come back to your set point theory, which is your hedonic happiness. And that's not really going to lead them to that happiness that they're looking for. Instant gratification is good, it gives you some bit of pleasure, is what I would say, but it does not lead to sustained happiness. So, what I would say to the younger generation is to really look for sustained happiness. And how do you do that? For sustained happiness, what you need to do is work on your passion and purpose. So, if you have a role which you're really passionate about, that's what is going to give you long term happiness. In that, what happens is, even if you're going through a painful journey, there'll be ups and downs when you do a project as well. Nothing goes smoothly all along, right, from the start to finish. So if you're passionate about that role, you will keep going in spite of the pain, in spite of the pitfalls. You will keep finding ways to come back to it. And I think that is what will keep you excited, and that's what you should look for. It doesn't matter which company, it doesn't matter who you're reporting to. It's the project and it's the role is what you should look for. If you have that, I think that's the best part. Also, what I've seen is, many a times people don't put up their hand and ask for the project. So you are passionate about something, you are not being given that role, but did you put up your hand and ask for it? Did you tell somebody that I want that role? Or you're quietly deciding, ki, oh, I didn't get that role and therefore I'm leaving. So there are a lot of these nuances which one needs to think about as to, why am I leaving? What is the reason that I'm leaving? And why can't it work here? In a new company also, is there guarantee that you will get everything you want? Which is why the happiness comes back to a set point theory, right? You think you will, and then you realize that it's another company and similar problems, and then you're back to one. What you need to do is, you need to work on yourself. So I've already always worked on myself as to what I need to do, what I need to learn next, what makes me happy, what is the role I want next. I think that's what kept me going.
So, Priyanka, you worked for Taj, Chroma, Tata Global Beverages, Tata Coffee, Mahindra's, so many organizations and so many people. Is there any common theme that you've noticed about people and people problems at the workplace that also triggered you to become a happiness coach and also leave the corporate world so early on? You still had 8, 10 years left before you decided to leave. What triggered you to leave such a big amount of money that you were making, and you're fairly young, you could have done at least a decade more. What triggered you? Is there a people issue that you noticed all throughout, or is it collectively many issues? I just
So there are many, as you said, but what happens, Shikha, is what I really learned early on in my career. And if you see, mostly I've worked in service organizations. Taj is about serving a end customer. Chroma is a front end service organization. Tata Global Beverages has a B2C, which is a customer, and Mahindra's as well. Tata Coffee was the only one which was a B2B organization. So in my service organizations, one thing I very learned very early was it's all about people. You cannot deliver. We didn't have machines or we didn't have manufacturing units which was giving us our product. Our product was our service, and the service is delivered by the people, and therefore they become the most important piece in your organization culture or your organization strategy or anything that you want to do in your organization. So having said that, if people are the most critical thing, what I also learned is learning and development is another important area which you need to really focus on, because that's the team which is really actually going to teach them how to do things.
But isn't this the other way around, that whenever a company is going through a really hard time, the first
Budget
thing
that cuts.
or the budget cuts happen in is in
L&D.
L&D or trainings? Why is
I think that's the worst mistake any organization can make. So I remember there was a time in Taj when there was recession all over the world, not just India, of course, starting with US, and it hit and impacted India as well. And everybody was going through a bad time. The first thing that my boss, Mr. Krishna Kumar, he was the managing director at that time, the first thing he said was invest in training. He said, this is the time. We need to reskill our teams and we need to upgrade the way they serve. We need to upgrade our service standards. And we actually invested in L&D instead of cutting the cost. While we cut cost in many other places, but we did not touch L&D. Because that's the time that you need to get ready for the next phase. When you're out of recession and when the organization needs to grow after that, your people need to be ready for that, isn't it?
it sounds music to me. Matlab,
Yeah.
in my career, I'm yet to see any organization doing this. I mean, I've worked with so many organizations, I'm yet to see this.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy that organizations do exist who are thinking like that and who've thought about it. So I'm happy to hear this story from you.
So I want to also share another thing that I learned very early from Mr. Krishna Kumar. So what he would say is, normally people look at L&D as a cost. And when people leave and go, you feel, oh, I lost so much money. I had trained this person. He used to feel proud when somebody used to leave. And he used to say that, oh, somebody is picking people from Taj. It means that my standards are so high that they want people from my team. That means my training is good. I don't need an ROI on training, whether the ROI is coming or not. For him, the ROI is somebody else picking my people and giving them jobs.
I am going to use this.
So imagine if Oberoi was taking somebody from Taj. That means we are training people at such a standard or at such a level where they feel that they need to pick from Taj. So when attrition used to be high, he used to feel good about it.
Extremely powerful.
I mean, of course, there is the pressure that you will still put on your teams that,
Yeah.
why are people leaving? And, you need to reduce the attrition and all of that. But he took it as a positive.
Superb. So you've got this whole new theory for our listeners and for me as well. So I want to pick up another story from other organizations. That is there anything else that you felt that, oh, this is the trigger that I want to quit and I want to do something for people?
Yeah.
Was there any other trigger?
So If I go to my next organization, that was Chroma. So that was one of the best experiences of my life. While being in a large conglomerate like the Tatas, I got to do a startup, right? Normally, people leave big organizations to want and go do a startup. I didn't need to do that. I got a startup opportunity within the group. So there, I actually had an opportunity to hire from the managing director, the CEO, to the salesperson, because I was the HR and I had to hire the entire team, and also including putting my own team in place, right? So, doing all of that, when you do a startup, it's a clean slate. You can write the culture the way you want it. So, there is a lot from people point of view that you can do. What I did was really I took the best things from the Tata group and I incorporated that. Now, only that wouldn't have worked. I had to hire people from different retail organizations. Now, Chroma was a retail, it was electronics retail. So I was speaking from different retail organizations. And so that team was younger. It was a very young team with an average age of 30 years. Now, I can't just have all the old fashioned Tata policies, right? So I picked really the core ones and I created something of my own, which sort of really worked for our organization. So you had the ethics and the respect and the dignity of the Tatas. At the same time, you had a mix of high performance, and expecting them to do retail in a certain way. So it could mean high performance, it could mean higher productivity, faster promotions. The younger generation didn't have time. They didn't want to wait for 5 years till you prove yourself and then get a promotion. So fast track programs is something I had to put in place. So we had a great blend of the Tata culture as well as the new ways of working. So I think that was fantastic. But if you look at common people problems, I think what I learned is people don't leave organizations, they leave bosses. We've all heard that, but I've seen it across many, many organizations. When people leave, it's mostly their bosses, because your boss is the one who influences and impacts you most of the time. While yes, there are organization policies which you may or may not like, those are not of direct impact. Other than your salary, I think there is no other direct impact. Some policies can be tweaked, changed, you can give feedback, and there's always work on progress. But your manager and how the manager is dealing with you, whether he's dealing with you with respect, whether he's dealing with you with aggression, whether he's giving you opportunities to learn and grow, all of those make a difference. As a leader, if you're not able to have that impact on your people, then they're not going to stay with you. So we see all of this high attrition everywhere these days. That engagement scores are high and attrition is also high. What does that tell you? When your engagement scores are high, okay, they're very happy with the organization, but they're not happy with their bosses. That is why they're leaving you. Yeah. So I think that's a common problem which you see. And then you see that they come so unhappy to work because you don't have the right boss or you don't get along or whatever is the reason, you don't come happy. So I've seen them being unhappy. So you're in your 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, 7 o'clock, whatever you're working, you're spending more time at your workplace than at home. And if you're going to be unhappy during that time, you're going to carry that unhappiness to work, to your house as well, right? So that somewhere started being a trigger for me at some point in my career, that why are people so unhappy? Why are they quitting so soon? What is it that we can do to make that change? So I think teaching managers how to be leaders and not bosses, I think is very crucial. And many times they don't realize it. I've seen that they don't realize they had a leader probably who was working with high pressure, who was only demanding sales. In the earlier era, that's how it used to work, right? That my boss said something and I have to just do it. And so they had probably leaders like that, and therefore they don't know any other way of functioning, and therefore that is what is going forward. So having to change that is one part as to how the leaders can be better. But the other thing that comes to my mind is, how should they be happy on their own? Why are you dependent on somebody else to make you happy? As an individual, why can't you choose your own happiness, right? So all these things used to be going on in my mind, and Therefore, whenever I decided to quit, I think I saw it in all the organizations that I worked in as a continuous. So it used to be on my mind. So when I decided to quit, I thought that is the one place that I would want to work on. And because I understand that area very well, I understand what happens between people, between their managers and the employees. I understand what happens at an organization level, at a strategic level. And so I think that's the best way to give back to the corporate world what it has given to me. I've really had the opportunity to grow, and that's what I would like to give back.
So, before I go further on asking questions from Priyanka, I want all of you to know this that there was a time when Priyanka's boss, when was that? Which organization was this?
That was when I was in Bombay House.
Bombay House. Okay.
Yeah.
But what organization?
While I was on the rolls of the Taj, but I used to support many other projects my boss used to work on.
Okay. So she knows what I'm going to talk about. See how fast she answered. So, anyways, she was asked by her boss to accompany him in the charter which had Ratan Tata sitting there for 3 hours. She could have talked to Ratan Tata for 3 long hours, but she decided to not go on that charter plane with her boss and Ratan Tata, both. And she just decided that she's going to go and work for all her pending work, and she just will take a local flight back, but she is not going to be on that airplane. Priyanka, I want to ask you, what made you say no to an opportunity like that? Because I know for a lot of leaders, a lot of aggressive leaders who really want quick success, faster relationship building, they would never say no to an opportunity like that. What made you say no to go on the charter where you could have easily sat down with Ratan Tata for 3 hours and spoke your heart out, or would have collected so many learnings and shared so many things, or would have asked some advice? Why did you let it go?
So, Shikha, this was a very interesting project. Actually, it was the groundbreaking. You lay the stone for a project. So, this was the laying the foundation stone for the Tata Memorial Hospital in Calcutta, right? So, we had gone there, and of course, I'd gone on my own flight, etc., because I had to go few days earlier to make sure everything is going fine, right? So, I was there, and on the return, Mr. Krishna Kumar said that why don't you come back with us? On the charter flight that they were going back in. And I was like, yes, yes. And I just disappeared from the scene. I just decided to disappear. So for me, Shika, what it was is, I will get plenty of opportunities to interact with Mr. Tata, Mr. Krishmar, all the directors in the Tata group. I've had plenty of opportunity before that, and I was sure I'll get plenty of opportunity after that. What was important for me at that point in time is that while the chief guests have come, laid the foundation, and they're going to go back, but we, the people, will need to still finish our work that is still happening on the ground. There were still other guests which were not flying out. There was still a lot of other work to be done before we fly out completely, saying that, yes, okay, this thing is over and we're going back now. So I thought that was more important to complete. And I don't think there was a chance to explain all of this to my boss. So I just quietly chose to disappear from the scene. Their flight time had to fly on time, and then they left, and I took my normal flight. So for me, it's not about grabbing that opportunity, or it's about, not missing a chance for success. I think if you're confident, then I'm sure you will get that chance when you have to. The door will open when it needs to, or you can open it for yourself. You don't have to wait for somebody to give you an opportunity. So I was very sure that I like to do things at my own pace, at my own time. For me, it was important to close the event properly and not just run off on a flight.
But Priyanka,
And
not
that's what I did.
everybody gets this confidence. The confidence you wore. I want to know, how did you have that kind of, or rather had that kind of confidence at that time? You were still very young, and to have that kind of confidence that, oh, I will have the opportunity in the future with Mr. Tata and the rest of the bunch of leaders that you were traveling with. What gave you that courage to think that you will have enough?
That's a tough one. So I think if you're confident about what you know and what you do, I think that's where the confidence comes from. If you know you're authentic, if you know that you will apply your mind when it needs to and deliver on a project, and if you know that you will, give your 100% or maybe even 200% when required to a project, when you do all of that, I have the confidence that you will get the results. So, what happens is sometimes it doesn't come to you immediately. There have been times when you don't get the result immediately and you feel sometimes dejected that, oh, I worked so hard and I didn't get my result, I didn't get my promotion. All of that happens. But I think I had enough patience and confidence that it'll come to me when it has to. So, I'm quite a believer of things happening when they have to. And don't go running after things, it will come to you.
So, Priyanka, you are also coaching a lot of women leaders now. And, women usually feel that they are not ready. Women feel that they will have to really steer their path through many hurdles that they are not prepared for and also not trained for. What do you have to tell to these women leaders who are aspiring for more challenging roles in their lives, at work and, of course, in personal life as well? What do you have to say to them, in terms of the path they should choose?
So, what I want to tell them is like, there's nobody ever who's ready. Whether it's a man, whether it's a woman, you're not always ready for the next role, for the next opportunity, because you don't know what it's going to throw at you. It's just an opportunity and you should grab it. One thing I've learned from my career is you have to put up your hand and ask. If you don't ask, the organization doesn't know that you're aspiring to do that. And how will you get it if you don't ask? So, one is put up your hand and don't wait to be 100% ready. Even if you're there 50, 60%, I think you should put up your hand and take it. And then deal with the path that it takes you on. There will be
And learn it on the
challenges.
job.
Learn on the job. We've all learned on the job, right? So why can't you just learn on the job? Why do you need to be 100% ready? How do you know what is 100% ready? Do you know what the challenges the role is going to throw? You don't. Do you know what are the very difficult moments that are going to arrive? No. So till they don't arrive, you're not going to be able to know. And if you don't know, how will you learn how to deal with it? So I think you should just jump in, take it as it comes, ride the wave when it's up, learn from all the challenges that come, and move on to your next one.
Nice. I have a tough question coming up for you now. So, you had, these were your most prime years when you would have earned the maximum in the corporate world. And you know it. Okay. You quit that. Possessing money is one of the most important aspects of the corporate life. What made you quit corporate life in your most prime time when it was, about money? And the first month when your salary didn't come after you decide to quit the corporate world, how did it feel? And my real question to you, honestly, is how did you manage to deal with your insecurity of money, which of course you don't have, but how do you not have that, is my question.
So that's a very interesting one. And everyone who quits corporate, whether you quit at 52 or at retirement, goes through this. In corporate, you're used to that money coming into your bank and you getting that SMS on 31st of the month that your money has hit. I think is something that we are very used to. And not having that in the first month, of course, you feel your heart sinks that, oh, it's not coming this month. So you do feel a little bit. So I just felt it in the first month. Felt it meaning I just remembered, oh, today's 31st. Normally I would have got my salary and I didn't. So it didn't impact me so much is because I had done my financial planning ahead. I always knew that I want to quit at 50. I quit at 52. I, give the 2 years for pandemic that came in the way of my quitting at 50. But I always wanted to quit at 50. And therefore, I'd done my financial planning way ahead. I was done with my home. I was done with all my EMIs. I was done with my son's education. And that's what mostly, our age people are stuck with. So I ensured that I'd planned for that and I ensured that I had some for my retirement as well. Okay, that's one that I did. And the second one is, why do you think I won't make money now? I do have an entrepreneurial journey and I, of course, expect to make money moving forward. There will be a few months till the takeoff happens, till you stabilize, till you learn how entrepreneurs live and how tough that life is to get business. So all of that will happen, and I'm looking forward to that journey. But I don't think, like I said, money will come when it has to. If you do the right things, if your heart is in the right place, if you do the right kind of work, then money will come.
I think my question was more from the point of view that you have moved from certainty to
To
an uncertainty in your life. And that, having that confidence comes from, like you said, financial planning. And I think it really hits home for me because I always am advocating on financial planning to, especially for women.
Absolutely. And I learned a lot from you, Shika. The programs that you did at my companies on financial planning, it gave me a lot of insights. One of the things I've done is I've stopped buying gold. I buy paper gold. Those bonds that you talk about
Yes.
all the time,
Yes,
the
yes, yes.
SGB.
Yeah. Now
So
they are discontinued, so we'll talk about it later.
yeah, but I do have yet some.
Yes, yes, yes. No, I'm so glad that our program also helped you. But I think you were also very open to learning about money. And
Yes.
one thing that you just mentioned about financial planning for women, I think has really played a big role in your quitting to do something that you want to do in life, and that's a very big message for all of us.
Yeah.
That
Financial freedom. If you want your own freedom, you first need to have financial freedom.
Yes,
After so many years in the corporate, you don't want to again depend on somebody asking for money, right? So
yes,
I think it's very important that women learn how to deal with their own money. How do you know how to invest? Do you know where to invest? Or are you just earning and spending? And probably taking help from somebody at home, nothing wrong with it. You have a supportive family, they'll do the investment for you, but you should also know, you should learn how to do it, you should know what it means. You should know whether it's gone up, down, whatever that is. But you should learn financial planning. I think everybody should learn financial planning.
and I think how you're saying that everybody else in the family can definitely support you, but learning about your own money is a very basic life skill that all of us need to have, right?
Absolutely.
So, Priyanka, you've started out on your own, like you said, that you're not done. You're just done with corporate. And starting at 52, is it scary? And should you be suggesting or advising other women or men to start this late? Yes or no?
I think you should go for it. Whenever your heart says go for it, I think you should. Of course, it's easier when you do it at an earlier age. And I always give this example that when you're 30 and you quit and you're starting your journey, you have to make the CTC you're making at 30 to cover up, right? So you're thinking, okay, if I'm making 30 lakhs, then you want at least a revenue of 30, 40 lakhs in your entrepreneurial journey to make ends meet for yourself. When you quit at 52, you have to make that much more. So your revenue targets are much higher because you want to have that certain lifestyle that you want to continue. So no time is right or wrong. I think you should just go for it when your heart says enough. I've done enough of this. And there is a larger purpose which I have found. So I found my larger purpose of wanting to, give back to women and teach them how to grow to CXO levels, right? I have reached from the bottom to a CXO level. Why can't I teach the other women and make it easier for them to how to take this journey, right? Or if you talk about happiness, how do you make people happy and how do you create environments or workplaces which are happier? I think I found that purpose, and I think it's very important to find that purpose before you quit. It's not about making more money or making less money in corporate or in entrepreneurship. It's have you found your purpose? And if you found your purpose, I think there's no better time to go for it than that moment when you find that purpose.
Okay, so Priyanka, I want you to be my happiness coach right now because we must tell women and give them courage enough to work on their happiness quotient. So if I come to you as a stranger, of course, you will not be coaching somebody who's a stranger. You will have to invest a lot in their in understanding their profile, and you know my profile. You know me so much. Do you think there's scope for me to be happier? Of course, I have. What can I do to be a happier professional person in general? What is your advice?
So I'm glad you asked that, Shikha. But let me tell you, happiness is a journey. It's not a capsule. It's not a one-time event that I will give you some trick and you'll be happy. You will be, but then it will be for that moment. So for your long term happiness, it's a journey that you need to invest in. You need to go to a coach who will help you walk through that journey, guide you through that journey. And it's again different strokes for different folks. One advice will not fit all. So I think what you need to do is, first of all, make that choice. Happiness is a choice that I'm making today. I want to be happy, and I'm going to figure out how to do that and invest in yourself.
Thank you. So, Priyanka, there's a very interesting question coming up for you that you have often, said this to me that choosing the right partner helps you really shape up your professional journey and overall your happiness quotient. How can people really find good families, or, not for only women, but also men? So many men are not happy in their marriages. So many women are not happy in their marriages. And eventually it goes to work. And then professionally we are unable to be successful because everything is intertwined. You have always mentioned this to me, that have the right people, right family, right partner. How do people find this? And when they find the wrong person, what do they do really?
So I think the key to that is communication. Communicating with your family as to what is important for you and why do you want to do it. I think makes a lot of difference. I've been fortunate. I've had a very supportive family. Whether I told you about my father-in-law, whether it's my husband, whether it's my son, they're very supportive of anything that I want to do. It doesn't come in my way. So why that happens is really because I've been communicative. I have been going to them and telling them, this is what I'm doing, this is how I'm doing it, always keeping them involved in what I am doing and how is that making me happy. And if your family wants your happiness, I think they won't come in your way. So
And if
one
they
is,
do,
then I think you need to take a call.
is that the call to quit?
It's really, no, you could take a call to communicate and
After
convince.
communication, if it's still not work.
It takes a while. Marriage is work. It's not an event. It's not a few years or few months of engagement. It takes a lot of work, and I think if you invest in it along with your partner, talking regularly to them, explaining, understanding where they are coming from, explaining where you are coming from, and sometimes you have to take a middle path. Sometimes you have to give up. Sometimes you get what you want. So life is like that. It has its ups and downs, and it's like an ECG, if I can say. It has those ups and downs, and it's your choice whether you want to work on it or you want to quit. So it's really that. There is not going to be a life which is going to be easy. It's not going to be a bed of roses. It'll come with its ups and downs. Do you want to go through that ups and downs with that partner is what you need to decide.
Thank you so much for watching Office Tales and People podcast with me and Priyanka, where Priyanka was our guest today. I hope you're going to take lots and lots of learnings from this episode until you watch the next episode.